Hello, everyone. We are here with the EYP podcast. Yay! Engage your passion. My name's Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And together we're
Tony and Sarah.
It's so great to have you guys back. We're excited as today I get to put my lovely wife on the hot seat. That came out kind of wrong. Anyway, so today, I guess, are you ready for your hot seat talk?
No, I really am not. Talking about myself is not my favorite thing to do.
Yes, but we enjoy it when you do it so much.
I guess
so. Okay. Well, I think we're starting this new project together.
Yeah.
And, people need to know why we decided after all this time. We've done it for everybody else, but we haven't branded ourselves.
Right. Well, I've watched you help people brand themselves. I've been trying to brand myself forever, but I think the podcast in general is something I've pushed you to do. For a long time. I've been listening to podcasts for 4 or 5 years.
At least.
I walk around with little headbuds in my ears and you can't see them and you're like,
Honey,
hello? Can you hear me?
Hello? What?
So in regards to like this and doing all of this, I just know that we can reach more people, and we're both teachers, and just if we can share our stories and if we can share other people's stories and inspire people, then I think it's a pretty good project.
Well, you inspire me. You really do, and on a daily basis. So, and I'm not just saying that for the cameras and the microphone. Wow.
No, he actually is not doing that. He tells me all the time off camera that I do that. So that's very sweet.
I'm very lucky.
Very sweet.
So, Miss Sarah, you've had an amazing career. And so tell us your story within the arts and entertainment industry.
Well, I don't even know where to begin because I'm not sure exactly where it began. Both of my parents are musicians.
Okay.
So honestly, I feel like I grew up singing before I could even speak a sentence.
Right.
Like I was singing. I remember my dad was a music minister, those minister kids, they can quote the Bible. I could quote the hymnal. I could probably sing every hymn that was in the Bible. That's actually what I miss right now about all of church is the traditional hymns. But not to digress, but, so my parents, my mom eventually went back to school and she became an organist. She was always playing the piano. But I grew up really just singing, and I'd be in choir and doing all of that. And we got involved in church basically. Mm-hmm. And I got really lucky that I'm just going to kind of fast forward. We moved around when I was really little. But then once I hit kindergarten, first grade, we were in Houston, and my dad was the music minister for a while. And then we moved to another church, and we got involved in that with that church, and they did summer musicals. Mm. And of course I sing in choir and we play handbells and all of that. But my dad was the handbell director for the adults. And so we auditioned for this summer musical. The first one we did was Fiddler on the Roof.
Hey, it's a good one.
And I I can't even remember the character's name. It's terrible. I got the youngest daughter.
Faisal?
Sure.
We'll have to check our notes.
But I remember I was excited. My sister was also there too. And I was like, oh, okay. So we were doing that. I remember just specifically a little story anecdote from that. I had to say a bench, You sit on a bench. I was terrified people were going to mistake and think I was saying the B word. Like, I was terrified. I was that goody two-shoes that was your typical little white girl. Like, goody two-shoes. And so I was really nervous about that. And then we did it again. And one year they auditioned and they were doing Oliver. And I think it was the summer between 7th and 8th grade. We were doing that. So I remember going to swim team practice. So I went to the audition and I wasn't thinking anything of it. And I came home. I was by myself, which is weird. And on the answering machine, yes, answering machine, not voicemail, answering machine. Someone called and left, and I got the role of Oliver. Hey. Which I was a girl, and so I was really confused, especially because I knew boys were going to answer, but I got the role of Oliver. And I was like, it was probably my first, and I actually, I've had many of these moments, but it was the first moment I was, I grew up singing, but it was the first moment I go, wow, I'm good enough. Like, it was the first time I was really thinking, oh wow, okay. Someone thinks I'm that good. But I loved it. I remember, I got to work with the adults, which, at one point in my life, my mom always told me I grew up, I was like 5 years older than everybody else. I had an older sister, so maybe that helped, but my sister played Bet. So I got to my sister's name is Becky. So sometimes I thought they were saying Beck. No, Bet. So I got to, dance with her and all of these adults that I just looked up to. I remember the guy that played, what's Fagin? I remember, I think it's John McCoy. I would know his lines. And so I'd mouth his lines, and he was supposed to be like roughing me up. And he's like, stop it. I know this line, like in rehearsal. And it was so much, like, I just had so much fun. And I don't know if it was because I felt the spotlight, but it was almost like, I was able to be who I was or who I wanted to be in that moment. That was really like the best and probably one of the worst summers of my life. My grandfather passed away like 2 weeks before we opened. So ouch. It was really, I had to leave to go do that. But it was also like, so when I had to sing the Where Is Love song, I was able to really, like, I had a relatable moment in that. Like, I remember crying. I remember they had to throw me in the coffin, and like, I had to go through some hard times with that because, my grandfather just died. And so it was kind of scary.
How old were you?
12. So it was really rough. But that was probably my first, like, wow, this is cool moment. Yeah. And then I think my parents saw something and I was like, I want to do this. So I started dancing. And I got like quick, I was in private lessons to get caught up. I had danced before, but I was like, oh, I do not like this, which is really funny. If you think about it now, but, so I got back into dance. I had private lessons. I got into point shoes. Part of the reason I got into point shoes is I have crazy feet, and people are like,
amazing crazy feet. People
are like, you're not on point. You should be. But we saw somewhere around there, we saw Phantom of the Opera. And I was like, between Oliver and Phantom, I was like, this is what I want. But in Phantom, there were ballerinas. So, we went into dance, and I auditioned for the high school for the performing arts my 8th grade year after doing like intense private lessons. And I got in for both vocal and dance. And I decided
Which is really good. I mean, that's pretty awesome that you got
Yeah,
both.
I don't even know if they allow you to audition anymore for both, but
Yeah.
I did. And so I went for dance. I also auditioned that summer for Houston Ballet Academy, and I got into that. So like,
And just for those who don't know, it's the High School Performing and Visual Arts
In
here
Houston.
in Houston, Texas. It's the art school, and they call it HSPVA for the acronym. But go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So I was doing that. I was dancing for Houston Ballet Academy, and any other free time I had, I was going to my dance studio, my dance teacher's studio that she had opened. And because, the one that had done all the private lessons for me and got me there, I think there was like a gap. So my freshman year, she was working on opening it. So I was dancing wherever she was. And then on any of my off days. So like I was sleeping, breathing,
Everything.
dance all the time. And then, sorry.
It's okay.
Where did I go? So I went to HSPBA, I went to Houston Ballet. I was doing all of the things. My sophomore year, I decided, talking with my mom, I was doing a lot. And so it wasn't something I wanted to give up, but I needed to focus. I was going everywhere. So we decided to do like school through correspondence. And
You mean online school?
yeah, basically. All of these kids I just had that chosen for them, didn't they?
Yeah.
I got to choose. And so I just danced at my dance studio owner's place, but I was there all the time. She brought some really great teachers in, and I was taking adult classes, and I had opportunities, and I was doing summer intensives. I was at Colorado Ballet. I had this room with a ferret. Awful. Yes. So Colorado Ballet, like you go and you stay with one of the students, and she had a ferret as a pet, and it was
Tombe potted right. Oops.
it wasn't even actual Colorado Ballet, but when I went back, I was like in the room next to the ferret, and you heard the noises at night. Anyway, so I went there, and then, just to fast forward, I auditioned for the Joffrey Ballet. My mom and I went all over, and I auditioned for the Joffrey Ballet Academy in New York, and I got in, with a scholarship.
Sweet.
And so we went, and my dad and I went, and we spent a month in New York. We saw shows all the time. We basically lived in like the off Soho, like they called it off Soho suites or something like that. I don't know. I just remember like I would walk, and there was always these bakeries, and I got to spend this amazing time with my dad in New York and go take classes. And when I got that scholarship, it was again another moment where it was like, wow, these people think I was good. But I had also seen like the Center Stage movie, if you remember it. I'm going to give my age away.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
But it's actually celebrating, it's like 20th year right now or something like that. But you know how she got in? And then they were like, how did you get in? Like I had that, they think I'm good enough to get in and get a scholarship. And then I had this teacher, and it took me a minute, and I actually realized it that summer, but initially he was very hard on me. And I initially had that, I'm not that good. Why am I here? But then I realized he was pushing me because I was good. He was, and you need those. He saw the potential. You need those people in your life. And from there, I got to go with a group and tour Austria and perform in Austria, dance at Ballet Austin. And then I got really burned out. And I did all of that and I was going, but I was tired.
It seems it was intense from the time, I guess you said, from the time you saw Phantom of the Opera, the musical, till Austria, New York, Austin, and all this ballet. I mean, when did you, I guess, did you know before or after you got burnt out that this is what you were going to do for a living?
I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. I knew I loved it. My parents were always working in the arts of some sort. They were musicians making a living. So I knew it was possible. I don't think that I ever knew I had to do anything else. I never really looked at like corporate America and stuff like that. I never saw that stuff until I was an adult, to be honest.
Okay. So
I never really looked at it as an option for me personally. So I don't think I ever had I didn't think to go that direction for anything else. I was going to make it this way.
It was just the road that was presented.
It is the road I'm going to go. But I got really, really burned out and, I went the fitness direction. I'm not sure how I got there. My sister was working at a 24-hour fitness. And so I got in and then I really liked the personal training aspect and got involved in there. But my mom and I went to this spa in Austin and they were having like a dance thing and I can't even remember, guy came and was teaching and I took a musical theater class from him. Like they had it in their like workout area. Okay. And I just realized I missed it. And if you notice, I got involved with the arts because of musical theater. And somehow I got directed towards ballet, which I love. And to this day, right now, I still teach ballet. I feel like I eat, sleep, and breathe ballet. And I have such an affinity for it. Mm-hmm. But I think part of my burnout was that's not why I got started.
Okay.
I grew up singing. I wanted to sing and dance and do all of that. And I kind of got pulled away from it.
But you were very talented, obviously, is why people were maybe pushing so much. Yeah.
So I got into this doing what everybody else wanted me to do area.
Yeah, we've all been there.
But I took this musical theater class and I wanted to do it. And I came back and was talking to someone and they knew this person that was starting a new dance studio by the name of Tony Smith. Had I ever heard of him? I had not.
Yeah.
Which now seems crazy. How did I not? But then I called Tony Smith and he had his assistant call me back.
Yeah, I believe that.
And anyway, so I was looking for a job and in dance. And so I interviewed and I went and I tried and I walked into this dance studio and some guy was sweeping the floor. His name happened to be Tony Smith.
Yeah.
And so he was sweeping the floor and I tried to teach.
Just because you own the business doesn't mean you're not the janitor too.
So I tried and I taught and I got the job. Mm-hmm. And little did I know, this guy named Tony Smith also had an entertainment side to his business and said, "Do you hip hop dance?" And I said, "I can learn choreography." And luckily, because of my ballet training and my technical training, it's true. I can learn any kind of dancing.
You are very technical. That was one of the big things we saw. I was like, wow, okay. Actually, we were wondering, what are you doing in Houston?
Yes. And so I did that. We did a Christmas show. And I did few performances and then I fell in love
Well, let's back up a little bit because let's back up just a little bit. So
anyway, you want to know how I got here in my story? I'm just
yeah. Oh no, I'm going to ask this because I know because that's leading into the parts that I know, and I just kind of want to get a little bit more background.
Okay.
So from what I heard you say, basically your parents were kind of the main influence with their musical ties and being artists and stuff like that. Was that like, how did they affect you? Who was the person? Was it your dad? Was it your mom? Was it a couple? Was it a teacher that kind of gave you the, I guess, the courage and the what do you call it? Influence to kind of keep going? Who kind of pushed that for you? Or was it yourself? Or
I want to say it's my parents. And I'm not saying that because, they listen to everything I do. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. No, I'm actually going to say they were a quiet influence for me. They didn't have to tell me. They didn't have to say, oh, you're great. They did. But I watched them do it. I watched my mom. She got her doctorate degree in Oregon from IU. I watched her fight to get through that. I watched my dad go from being a music minister to a music teacher. And I saw the love and the passion that they had for their craft. And they were just doing it. Mm. And they were raising me and my sister, but they were making it work. And I am not one who listens to what people have to say. Actions speak louder than words. And my parents were living through their actions. And I really am an observer. You know that.
Right, I do.
I will watch people. And in watching them, they really showed me, still to this day. I mean, everybody has their ups and downs, and it wasn't always great. And their experiences, they had some really awesome ones and they had some not awesome ones, but I watched them handle that and stick with what they want to do. Even now, my mom, she's still playing in churches, and my dad just retired from being a music teacher, but he's still directing one of the biggest handbell groups out there. And it started by directing the little church thing. And my dad has such a passion for it now. And they're doing it. Yeah. And so I would say they were my quiet influence.
But led by example.
They led by example.
Mm-hmm. And so did you pick up, because I love, when we talk, when we met and things of that nature, but learning by example, were there habits that they did that you kind of, I'm going to do that, or processes that you put in place, or what habits do you have to kind of kept you on the road to success, that you could share with our listeners?
I've kind of taken what I've seen, but there's always a way to make it work out. It may not be the way you expected, but you may hit a dead end, and that's okay. And so I would say, I don't know if I want to say it's a habit, but it sounds so cliche, but never give up. But just following through. And if you say you're going to do something, you do something. And then if you can't find it working out this way, then you're going to turn around and go that way and really, making that work. But, my mom might laugh. Their health. My mom was always, she would work out to Carole King. I remember, she'd turn on the Carole King doing that. And it, even with her health journey, it was, she never gave up on it. And it may not always work for her this way, but she's going to figure out how to make it work. And it was always a journey. It was a true journey. But doing that and taking care of their instruments and following through and doing what you say you're going to do. I will have to say, now, a lot of the habits that I have, they probably tried to teach me when I was little, but I I did was I was not as in tune. Like I got into this doing everything for everybody else. I really lost track of me. So now my habits are putting myself first. Because if I can't take care of myself, I can't take care of you. I can't take care of my students that I have. I can't take care of my business. And I, another podcast for another time, but I went through some failures in our stuff, and those failures happened because I was trying to please everybody else. And after that, I really realized taking care of me, and really listening to my internal dialogue was the best thing I could do for my life.
Being yourself and being true to you.
Yeah. I don't know if that was the answer to your question.
Oh, no, there's no right answer. It's just your answer.
Okay.
So we kind of touched base with this previous podcast, but so you and I meet. You do a couple shows, and just letting you guys know, one of the best technical dancers I've ever met. Which we were blown away. It's like, we get to work. It's like, what are you doing in Houston? But did a couple shows, and and I guess we can talk about that journey moving forward for the different shows and different projects. But for you now, now that we're with Adams Davy and Adams Davy Access, what is forefront for you moving forward after, with COVID and everything? What's next for you?
So Access is something that you kind of helped birth, but I'm keeping the train pushing because I love it. There is nothing, I got to go to Austria and perform. I got to have Oliver and do those experiences. And those little touches for me were really what were motivating me to keep going.
Access is? Yeah.
Access is, a brand, a brand development and experience, program that we do for aspiring artists. And so we help them brand, but we also give them resume builders and real life experience, because how else are you going to know if this is really what you want to do unless you're willing to see what work it actually takes. And I love it. I love giving back to, the up and coming group. And there's nothing better than putting these kids in an intense, rehearsal, this is what it takes to put an actual show on Broadway, or do a theme park show or a dance tour or whatever, and then go and then get the satisfaction after being on stage.
Right.
That is the experience aspect of the Access brand is what I really love. And COVID has really messed that up this year. But, so I am disappointed, just as many of the people who were planning to go. But we postponed, and I know we're going to be able to get back to that because live entertainment is something that you just can't get rid of. So building that with you, also working on, entrepreneurs and helping them, because we both been there and failed. And I'm a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer, and dreams change, but I just never giving up on yourself, because I know what that feels like. And so that's what's, we haven't really figured that part out. But as far as the Access side, really helping those young dreamers learn what it's going to take, because it isn't all fun and games. But it is so rewarding, and I just want to be there and do that.
And you inspire me every day. Like I said, I mean, it's really how you empathize with the up and comers, the high schoolers, the college kids, even the graduates, and then helping them get to the next step. You really make a difference.
Thank you.
So as we kind of get to the end and wrap this up, we're going to ask you our question.
Okay.
So how does the phrase engage your passion? How does that affect you? What does that mean to you when someone says engage your passion?
So I know that we're saying the words engage your passion, but as I just said, I'm a dreamer. So for me, passion and dreaming kind of go hand in hand. I don't get what having a dream that might not be a passion is. So if you're going to dream, I assume that should be your passion as well. But the word engage means actually doing it. Like
activating.
There should be an action behind it. It's, dreaming is like, la la land. If you're watching, you see all my Disney stuff. Why I find Walt Disney so inspiring. He was a dreamer. But I think it's one of his quotes. If you can dream it, you can do it. And so for me, engaging your passion is not just dreaming it, but doing it and figuring out what that is. So that's, for me, that's what engage your passion is doing it, living your dreams, no matter what, and finding a way to, like, for us, it's finding a way to make it happen and live that way.
So where can we find you if we want to get more information on the health stuff?
Here.
On the health stuff, on access, how to participate, or the branding, or just everything, the trips and courses, and where do we find you?
So we are on our website. I am not. He builds the websites. We are. So if you want more information, adamsdavy.com. But you can find me more on the social aspect. And so you can find, I personally, if you want to see mine, and I do more health stuff on mine, like Sarah Nave-Smith on Instagram and Facebook. And you can follow us on TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, all the things at Tony N. Sarah Official. Are we on Twitter? I don't do Twitter.
We're a little bit on Twitter.
I don't like Twitter. And then you can find us on this podcast.
Yeah.
So talking all things.
So let me ask one last question.
Oh, no.
Off script here. Just what, if there was one thing you would like to leave with listeners, or say there's somebody who, who's 12 and just finished and, maybe their show didn't happen because of COVID, or they got that lead role and didn't get it, and they have this dream. What do you want to tell that person? Or the parent who always wanted to dance when they were younger and then for some reason didn't happen. What do you want to leave with them?
It's never too late. We go back, you asked me who inspired me, and both of my parents did. My mom, she showed me that it's never too late. She went back to school. And she just kept going back to school. And I think that's one reason I never went to college, is I watched her. I was like, well, it doesn't matter. If I want to go back to school in my 30s, I have that opportunity. You don't have to go to school when you're 18. And not saying don't go to school. I'm not telling the 12-year-old not to go to school. No. Yeah. I'm just saying that
you got to pick their own path.
Yeah, pick your own path, but it is never too late. So if you want to dance again, life is going to happen, but don't make it happen to you. Make it happen for you. So this time right now, I don't know. That's probably someone's quote that I am just repeating, by the way. But
it's a good one.
Never give up hope, and use every moment, failure or opportunity that you as an opportunity. This time right now, use it to get your stuff together, train, take those vocal lessons. Everything's going virtual right now. So you can get feedback, and because we are going to come out of this,
right.
And so whether you want to dance, you want to sing, you want to do musical theater, it's, people aren't going to be cooped up in their houses forever. So prepare yourself now, because it's never going to be too late to get back on the horse. So that's what.
Well, I have to say, I mean, this interview was, it's like I know your story, but just still hearing it is just still inspiring. I love your fact that, actions speak louder than words for you, and not giving up, and then your parents and how they did that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we will be back next week. And until then, engage your passion.
Yeah.
It's an active thing, as she was saying. That's one thing we try and instill with everyone. The action of it is what's going to make it come to pass. The dreaming is great, but the action makes it happen. And so until we meet again, I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And together we're Tony and Sarah.
Sarah.
We'll see you guys next time.